Now, if you're looking on the MLS for an SFH, you're not going to see any FSBOs. But if you're paying cash, you do need a POF, not a pre-approval. And if it's an REI, you're going to need an LLC, and I'll help you make sure you get a good ROI. Got it? Welcome to the first video in my new series, Real Estate Lingo, where I'm going to be teaching you all the important terms you need to know so that whether you're at a dinner party with a realtor or find yourself in a real estate transaction, you can feel smart and confident. I'm Natalie Bratton with RE/MAX First, and today's terms are escrow and earnest money. Welcome to class. Our first term is earnest money. Who is Ernest, and who's given him any money, and what's it all for? Well, earnest money is a check a buyer writes when they make an offer on a property. It's a show of good faith that says, I'm sincere about wanting to buy your property and I intend to fulfill all my obligations in making this transaction happen. It is typically about 1% of the sales price, and it gets deposited after you go under contract. It gets deposited and held in a trust account that does not bear any interest. No one makes money off of it, but it is held there until you close on the property, and it goes towards the buyer's down payment and closing costs. The amount of earnest money is not a set rule. But I've never seen it be lower than $500, and the higher you are in price, the higher you're expected to give. So that's earnest money for you. A deposit in good faith at the beginning of a contract to show you are serious about wanting to buy a property. Escrow. Now, escrow has several meanings and several different ways it's used, and it gets thrown around a lot. So here's 3 of the most common uses for the word escrow. First off, if you are getting a mortgage, you're going to have an escrow account. So when you close on a property you're buying and you're getting a mortgage, the lender is going to set up an escrow account. We might call that money prepaids or reserves. But basically, the mortgage company is going to take a whole lot of insurance and several months worth of taxes up front, and they create an account that goes along with your mortgage. That way, every month, when you make your monthly payment, a portion of your payment is taxes and insurance, and it goes into that account. And then when those come due, for taxes it's December, and for insurance it's the month that you buy the house, the mortgage company pays those for you out of that account. The reason they do it is so that you don't get lazy, and if you forget to pay your taxes and insurance, then a lien could be filed on your property. They don't want that to happen. Or if something happens and you stop making your payments or you go into foreclosure, then they can at least pay your taxes and insurance. The second way it's used is we'll say, we're holding this money in escrow. And what that means is in an agreement, in a transaction, there might be some money held back in an account by a third party. So in real estate, it's usually the title company. The title company will hold funds in escrow. Whoever is holding your earnest money is holding it in escrow, and when the contract is completed, the money in the escrow will be given back to you towards your closing costs. Or let's say there's a house that needs some repairs and they didn't get done before the closing, then maybe the money will be held in an escrow account. And if the roof's getting replaced, the seller will give the title company the money. It's held in escrow, and when the roof gets replaced and everybody says it's all good, then they'll release that money. So sometimes money is held in escrow until the completion of the transaction, and when the parties agree, it can be released. Depending on where you're from and where you live in the United States, some people will say that your closing is called the closing of escrow, and that the title agent is called the closer of escrow, or your escrow agent. Here in Oklahoma, good old Okies, we just say your title agent and your title company. But they might say at the close of escrow, which is when all the obligations are met and all the funds are released and everybody signs. So it's the same as closing when they say close of escrow, or your escrow agent is also your title agent. Well, there you go. Feeling smarter already? Your first two terms, escrow and earnest money, are completed. Come back next week where I discuss the term Realtor and how to spell it, and also the word contingent. In the meantime, watch my playlist videos on tips for buyers. See you later.